The world is on fire. Oh no. Hello and welcome back to a Squirrel Plays. Today's video is coming a little bit out of left field because it caught me off guard. I was actually just sitting down to work on the script for a different video, but decided to check my email first. Because, you gotta procrastinate a little bit before you start working. Well, wouldn't you know it, the procrastination paid off. That, or it made everything worse, I'm not sure yet. I had an email with my name on it from a gentleman by the name of Spyro, and I probably didn't pronounce that right, but either way, it sure does sound pretty darn good. Now, I had no idea who he was, and I had no idea what Dimday Red was either. Never heard of it, though that's not really saying much because there's a lot of TTRPG things that I haven't heard of. Anyway, Mr. Chikatos gave me the elevator pitch for the game, as well as a Kickstarter link and a link to a bunch of digital goods. Pretty standard stuff, right? Granted, this was the first time somebody ever reached out to me that had a Kickstarter going, with one under their belt already completed. But on top of that, there was also the offer of physical goods. So I said, aha! This is a scam. So I ignored it for a day and went back to working on my regularly scheduled video. And to make a long story short, curiosity got the best of me, and turns out it was not a scam, or at least as far as I know at this point, and now I'm scrambling to get a video made in time. Why so fast? Because the Kickstarter is over by the end of the month, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. And as for the physical goods, trust me, I would love to show them to you, but there's no way they're going to get here in time because Mr. Chikatos here is all the way over in Greece. Yeah, what you think about that? The squirrel's going global. And you could too if you just hit that like and subscribe button. Ho-ho, ain't nobody safe from me. All right, so silly and overly long introduction aside, let's get into this bad boy and see what we got going on. And I apologize in advance, but this video is probably going to be a little bit everywhere. Normally, when I have a game to review, I like to read over the whole thing, play a couple games, talk to my friends about it, get some of their thoughts, and then read through the book again, and, just make sure I do a thorough job on it so I can be fair. This one is going to be a little bit different. This current video is going to be first impressions, and I'll look at what's inside, and then sometime in the future, I'll do a proper video review on it like I normally would. So, what's in the box, or the PDF I should say? What is Dimday Red? Lore. Lots of lore, but in a good way. I really like the world building that I'm seeing here. So basically, Earth's orbit is a little bit out of whack and is gradually getting closer to the sun. A fair chunk of the world has already been both flooded and scorched, and there's only 52 years left before the whole planet becomes too hot to survive. You get this handy-dandy world map here to show you what a sad state it's currently in, as well as some of the changes that have been made since things started going south. As you can see, it ain't looking too good, Chief. And Mr. Chikatos has gone the whole 9 yards with the world building. There's factions, cities, social classes, mutations, the whole works, man. There's even this short little comic to get you immersed. And on that note, I really dig the art style in this thing. The black and white with just a bit of red in places is a very nice touch. All the work that he's done for this really gives you the feeling of that end of the world, everything has gone to crap kind of vibes. But at the same time, it still hasn't quite ended yet. It's technically still going for another 52 years, so there's still a little bit of hope to cling to. And the rules, from what I read over, blend really, really well into that setting. Almost like the whole thing fits into a theme. I mean, who would have thought? Now, I won't get too into the rules because I haven't actually played it yet, so it's hard to give it a fair opinion, but I will say that I'm pretty interested in what I see. Being the rules light fan that I am, I was a bit turned off by the busy character sheets and all the things to keep up with, but the more I kept reading through the book, the more interested I became. And I'm going to break off for just a minute here. The rules are based on the Powered by the Apocalypse system, and if you don't know what that is, I highly recommend you go over here and watch this video. I recommend that one because that's the one I watched because I also had no idea what that system was, and after watching that, I feel like an expert. Well, maybe not an expert, but I at least feel like I have a bit more understanding of what's going on. Now, Dimday Red did choose to use 2d8s instead of 2d6s, but it's the same concept. The d8s come into play because there's some custom dice to go along with the game that utilize 8 sides, but you can still use regular dice if you need to. The game even provides you with charts on how to do just that, so that's pretty nice. But who doesn't like adding more dice to their collection? Also, during my investigation of what in the world the Powered by the Apocalypse system is, I found out that it is somewhat of a controversial system. Or at least some D&D fanboys really like to come after it with their pitchforks and claim that it's not a game and just improv with dice. Which, hopefully, I don't have to explain to you the irony of that argument. Anyway, similar to the other Powered by the Apocalypse systems, the players do all the rolling in this game using what the system calls moves. Now, I believe the idea of everything having some kind of cost to it is part of the Powered by the Apocalypse system, but Dimday Red really leans into that. And I mean, really leans into it. And that makes it all the more gritty and dangerous. And risky, which totally fits the setting this takes place in. Also, something Dimday Red throws at you that you're constantly having to watch out for is your heat rating. There's several things that can make this go up or down, usually up because, end of the world, everything sucks. And as you've probably guessed, the more heat you have, the worse things get for you. Like taking increased damage from attacks, losing the ability to heal yourself, and getting a negative modifier on your rolls. There's also the Sin and Virtue system, which get these really, really cool looking cards. As you take action and make decisions in your game, you gradually start filling out the tenant boxes here, and as you do, you will gain new abilities. And of course, those abilities definitely come with a cost. Wrath would be an easy example to use. It's defined as follows. Rage burns within you, blinding you to objective views. You rush headfirst into physical or mental confrontations, unleashing unparalleled punishment on those who oppose you. Consequently, you leave yourself vulnerable and exposed to everyone who survives your frenzy. There's also 2 concepts in this game that I really, really, really like the sound of, and those are pivot points and how death is handled. Pivot points are just that, a point in the story where your character pivots. Think of when Darth Vader was watching the Emperor blast Luke with the lightning. That was his pivot point. Or in Final Fantasy II, where you go from a Dark Knight to a White Knight Paladin type of deal. That was also a pivot point. It's a critical moment in the story that can alter your character's direction, and when that happens, should you choose to do it, will wipe your stats clean and let you start over. But it's not just a clean slate and a chance to go a different direction. You also get some perks depending on how much you wiped away and had to start over. And the other thing I like is how death is handled. Assuming you didn't get blown to bits and your remains were taken home in a to-go box, you can choose to come back and keep on trucking. If you do choose to come back, though, you're going to have a misery added to your character. And the idea here is that your character is a changed man or woman after having faced death. You get the mechanical function of negative modifiers to your rolls based off which misery you choose, as well as the flavor that goes with it. For example, if you choose the abashed misery, you get -1 to intellect and the description that a part of your mind has been left behind and you're no longer the same. Pretty neat stuff. And if you decide not to come back and die like a normal person, you have a handy dandy thing called Exodus moves, which more or less allow you to go out with a bang. Think you got me? Just wait till you see this. Oh, ho, ho, silly squirrel, it is no good. You forgot to... Oh, sweet goodness. And I suppose this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention that the DM in this game is not called the Dungeon Master, but the Doommonger. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I know this video is a bit different in comparison to the other review videos I've done, and it's probably lacking some details you'd like to know, but that's because I haven't played it yet. The only reason I'm even making a video about it now is because Mr. Drakatos reached out to me and was trying to get the word out before his Kickstarter ends at the end of the month. And, by the way, there will hopefully be a link in the description. I tend to forget to put those there, so here's hoping. And due to the way my YouTube schedule is, assuming I stay on track, the only way I could have squeezed him into the schedule was to do it on this video, because the next one will come out on the 29th, which is when the Kickstarter ends, so that kind of would have been useless for him. Also, that's assuming my schedule goes as planned, and no promises there. Now, he did say a simple shout out for the Kickstarter would have been enough, but I wanted to do a little more than that and shine some more light on his project because from what little I've seen, it looks awfully neat and I do want to give this game a shot in the future and give it a good and proper review. And on that note, you can pick up Dimday Red for free on Drive-Thru TTRPG. Now, that is just the manual. If you want all the snazzy cards and maps and whatnot, you will have to fork over some cash. The original Kickstarter for this game was about a year ago, I think, and the one currently running is for a new... Actually, you know what? That reminds me. Quick tangent. All right, I'm going to put some words on the board over here. Wine, dine, vine, fine, mine, and line. And then on this side, I'm going to put the words seen, mean, green, bean, lean, and keen. Now look at this word. I'm not going to say what it is. Just look at it. Look at it and tell me which group of words you think it would belong to by the way it sounds. Wine, dine, fine, vine, mine, and line, or seen, mean, green, bean, lean, and keen. If you choose the left side with wine and dine, then congratulations, you are wrong. Because this godforsaken language known as English pronounces this word as zine. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous, and whoever made that decision should go
right to jail, right away.
Anyway, the Kickstarter is for the next zine. Lord have mercy, that feels wrong. The next zine, which is an expansion to the game, and apparently is number 2 of 5, so there's more to come. And I would like to clarify again that no, I was not paid to do this. Similar to the adventurous game, the author simply reached out and asked if I could put some eyes on it and provided me with the digital goods to do so. Now, Mr. Drakatos did offer me the physical version as well, and I absolutely took him up on the offer and look forward to its arrival, and technically all I needed to do was mention and shout out the Kickstarter. But I really liked what I saw, and I wanted to do more. The world building really pulled me in and caught my interest. The art, the designs, the concepts, the world, I was invested in it, despite not even knowing anybody in this world yet. I actually wanted to learn the rules to play in this setting, in this world, as intended, instead of just learn a new set of rules because they sounded interesting. Or, you know, just something else to play that's not 5e. This had a lot of professional work put into it, or at least that's what it seems like. Who knows? Maybe I'll find out next week he stole everything and tortured squirrels in his spare time. That's just the risk you take when you do these kind of things. So here's hoping I won't get skinned alive later. Uh-oh. Anyway, head over to Drive-Thru TTRPG and grab the game and see what you think. Like I said, it's totally free and it gives you an index to use for regular D8s if you don't have the special dice or the deck of cards, so you'll be good to go. And if you have played it already, or heck, if you have any experience with the Powered by the Apocalypse system, by all means, tell me about it in the comments below. Also, obviously the shout out for this video goes to Drakatos and his game Dimday Red. Okay, bye.